one of my dearest friends, and I guess business associate when you get right down to it, is Luke Clayton. Luke and I have been doing a radio show together, actually his show called Catfish Radio now for, oh my gosh, over 20 years, in which we get together every Saturday morning, or that's when it broadcasts, and we tell hunting stories, talk about kind of what's going on in our parts of the world, primarily in Texas, but occasionally I get to talk about some of the other places that I've been, and just have an absolutely great time. And if you've not heard us, I suggest that if there's an opportunity, you look up catfishradio.org and go there, and probably tell you a few of the places, that radio station areas, or where it may be streamed, or where you may be able to hear them. And then too, of course, we do a weekly TV show that's on Carbon TV and also on YouTube, and it's called A Sportsman's Life. But those are some of the things that Luke and I are involved in. Of course, his radio show becomes a podcast as well. It's called Catfish Radio with Luke Clayton and Friends, and can be heard an awful lot, tremendous number of places. Kind of like my DSC's Campfires with Larry Weisson, where I talk a little bit about guests and or with guests, and then also tell a few hunting stories here and there. I have some great guests, some old friends, and occasionally a new friend as well too. But I have to tell you about the time a few years ago. Luke and I were hunting together up in Northeast Texas. One of the first times we really had an opportunity to hunt together. I mean, where we're in the same deer blind, and property we were on was very well managed. And Luke and I decided to crawl into this raised deer blind, if you will, elevated deer blind. Got in there and and before daylight, and closed the door. And it was a nice, cool morning, and we're sitting there and we were watching some does. And after a while, it was almost time to leave, and I said, let me try my predator call. I always carry one of those Burnham Brothers C3 predator calls, mouth blown calls, with me, and I blew on the call a little bit, and nothing showed up, and we thought, well, maybe it's best time that we get back to camp and prepare breakfast, because we had some other hunters out, and we're gonna have a late breakfast and then go back out again about midday. And we pushed on the door wouldn't open. The door would not open no matter what we did, and didn't realize it, but I guess when we got into the blind, the hasp that kept the door closed when nobody was there somehow or another fell into place and locked us in the blind. So here Luke Clayton and I, two very experienced outdoorsmen for many years of experience, and we're going, oh my gosh, what are we going to do now? How are we going to get out of this place? We kind of looked out the window, and the window is probably about 12, 14 feet down there. We thought, it's a little bit too far to try to crawl out the window, and probably sprain our ankles. And the way the blind was set up on a stand, a pipe stand, we'd have probably broken a leg when we hit it falling down anyway. So we're up there and we're going, oh my gosh, we had our phones, but we were kind of embarrassed to try to call somebody and say, hey, guess what? Larry and Luke are locked in a deer blind and they can't get out of it. And if y'all want breakfast, and I thought, no, man, we cannot do that. We can't. It's too embarrassing to have that happen. Have somebody come get us out of the blind. So we started messing around, and I carried my shooting sticks with me up there, my tripod shooting sticks that I always carried and used occasionally for a camera stand. And I started reaching around, and I could almost reach it to where I could almost kind of use it kind of as a plier to pinch that hasp, to turn it to where we could get out of that deal, because one of those things where it kind of came through like this, and then you twisted it, and so how this happened, it was like somebody from outside tried their darndest to lock us up in there. It took quite some time, but finally, by leaning way out and Luke kind of hanging on to my legs so I wouldn't fall out of the blind, out of the window, I was able to reach way around there to the side, because there wasn't a window where the door was. And so I had to really reach all the way around, and it kind of set big old wide stand, actually. And it was kind of in the middle of about a 6-8 foot wide stand. And finally was able to use that shooting stick to kind of, as I said, use as a pair of pliers, and was able to kind of turn it, and Luke Clayton and I escaped. But every once in a while, Luke and I'll be out somewhere together, sitting around a campfire, or telling stories on the radio show, and all of a sudden that thought of being caught in a deer blind together kind of comes back to haunt us just a little bit, and next thing you know, we're both laughing. That's what makes great memories. Is sometimes the little bad things that work against you, but somehow or another we always find a way to figure it out. So join me right back here again very shortly for another one of my short stories. And hopefully down the way somewhere we'll get to sit around a campfire and real life and tell a few of them as well too.